All right, let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. This is ASE Pair speaking. Hope everybody's doing well. We have a good amount of viewers here. Hey, Duzzles, Mentalist, Immaculate, Alan, Zaid, how's it going? Hope you are doing well today. So today it's just gonna be me. In the past, if you didn't catch last stream, the match between EL and Meow is definitely worth a watch. Um, Highly recommended. And that was a very exciting match, and I'm hopeful today's match will also be very exciting. Again, it is TUF versus WL. Should be a fun one. Um, yeah, let's get started here. We are going to just jump straight in. Let's see, how do I do this? All right, we got resonations, and here we go. All right, we're just gonna jump right in. So game number one is on Southwest Mesa as these qualifier rounds. The second qualifier round, the games are always on Mesa. So this looks like it's going to be a 3v3. Let's take a look at the players and their nations. So for TUF, we've got Pumpy, this is tier 1 player with Japanese. Tier 2, we've got Altair with Inca. And tier 3, we've got Mouse with French. On the other side, we've got Jatin, tier 1 player with Mongols. Tier 2 player, Ogutu Mbeke, I can't pronounce that. I'm sure that's somebody who's on a different name that I would recognize, but I don't recognize that one. But they're playing Inca. And then we have D, which I'm pretty sure is Dane, playing Indians. So pretty interesting matchup here. So we've got Inca and Inca, those are the mirrored nations, but the other nations are different. So obviously Indians and French, they have unique cavalry, but they play very differently. French is a very aggressive nation, and Indians kind of needs a bit longer to get online. And then Mongols and Japanese, pretty interesting choice. I do know Jatin likes his Mongols, and Mongols can oftentimes be really, really good at making space. Do like the Japanese picks slightly more, just because in terms of power level, I'd say I think Japanese have the slight edge there. But we'll have to see. I mean, it looks like I do like the fact that they've paired Indians and Mongols together, because Mongols, they're kind of the ones who make space for their allies, whereas the Indians need a bit of time to get going, and the like. So, you know, I think both teams' drafts are pretty good. I'm not surprised. I'm a little surprised that they both picked Inca. We did see, in some other series that having access to Inca if your opponent picks Himalayas is really important. So a little bit surprised to see both teams pick Inca so early on. But maybe that's part of their strategy. We'll just have to see. So locations-wise, we can start with WL. So we've got the red Mongols player Jatin, who is, again, the creator of Rise of Patience. Big shout out to him. He's kind of the one who makes all these tournaments and a lot of the community organization possible. So huge shout out to him. He was going to custom games earlier today, but I think he can't. He couldn't for one reason or another. But he is one of our co-commentators again and one of the tournament organizers. Big shout out to him. In the pocket, his teammate, I think this is TNO, based on this thing here. TNO is the green Inca player right in the pocket. And then on the right wing, we have the yellow Indians player, D, which I'm pretty sure is Dane, but I'm not 100% sure on that. On the other side, for TUF, we've got Mouse, the white French player, who's on the right wing. On the left wing, we have the purple Japanese player, Pumpy. And then in the pocket, the tier 2 Inca player, blue Inca player, Altair. So the nations are matchups are pretty similar. We've got tier 1 versus tier 1, and then tier 3 versus tier 3, and then of course we've got the tier 2 both in the pocket. It does appear like TUF is definitely a little closer. Jatin's very far away from anything, but it could work out for them. Jatin's kind of like stuck in the corner, and it could be in TUF's best interest to try and isolate Jatin as much as possible, because it's going to be really hard for him to get any help. Especially with the Inca player, right? It's really hard for the Inca player to sieve anywhere close here. It's pretty awkward. Yeah, so I'm not really sure what the strategy is. I'm imagining we're going to see some wonders go up soon for these teams, especially considering they both have Inca, because it's not immediately clear who's going to win the late game. However, it's a little bit scary. I would say it's slightly scarier for WL to go for wonders because, you know, as an Indians player, if you go for a wonder against a French player, you might just die. And if you're the Inca player and you go for a wonder, then your ally might just die because, you know, French are exceptionally good in a 1v1 situation. We could take a quick look at the ruins bonuses here. Looks like everybody's got kind of similar. So far, it's Dane and Mouse that are struggling a little bit, but, you know, still similar. Everybody's gotten at least 3 runes, which is pretty nice. Looks like so far, people are getting up their commerce research. Actually, if you compare the Indians player, who has only a +4 wood, compared to the +5, well, with the French player +5 Mouse. Mouse is extremely fast. He's already gotten the commerce finished, even though Dane has only constructing the library. I'm not actually sure why Mouse's score is so much lower, or a little bit lower. D should actually be quite further behind. Oh, it looks like he went for a second wood camp, it seems. Let's take a look here. So for Mongols player, it's just a little bit behind the Japanese player. Japanese player has already finished that commerce and getting out the market. In fact, quite behind. Inca player is finishing up commerce now, and yeah, both the Inca players are at similar speeds. Let's take a look at what rares each team has. So we'll start with TUF this time. So TUF has access to sugar next to Kyoto. There's silver to the right of Kyoto, and then on the very left side, there's citrus and diamonds, but those are pretty far away. Next to Cusco, there's marble as well as cotton. There's salt in the middle of the map there. There's furs below Paris, and above Paris is obsidian. And then there's horses and spice, which I'm not entirely sure which team will be able to control. On the other side for WL, they've got Pappy next to Delhi. They've got wine and wool in the back there, although this might be hard to protect. And they've got amber and tobacco. So pretty clear that that TUF have the better rares. You know, they have sugar, they have silver, they have furs. Those are all really excellent rares. The best rare that WL have is Pappy, but, you know, just one rare isn't good enough. And the rest of the rares are pretty miserable. Like, tobacco is your next best rare, which is usually not a great sign. If they can control the center here, obviously horses will be really, really good for the Indians player and also for the Inca player. I think this is going to be a crucial rare because if WL lose control of this, it's going to be a really hard game for them. Both in the short term, because your opponents have sugar and they have furs and they have silver, so they're going to have a really fast aiding time and a really quick attack as well as salt. But also in the long term, right? Furs and silver scale extremely well. And of course, you know, not to mention TUF have access to that diamonds. It's going to be a lot on Jatten here, who can see if he can get something done. And it looks like both the Tier 1 players have gone mill first, although it seems like Jatten's just considerably slower if you compare the ecos. It's going to be Pumpy, the Japanese player, who's much faster, already has their barracks down, hasn't produced any units yet, but I think expecting the barracks from Jatten. Pretty interesting city setups here. They actually haven't scouted this area at all, so they haven't scouted horses. So pretty interesting them to go for this like kind of defensive build, if you will. They're just both building pretty forward here. Both building straight up here. Jatten is going for an archer. He's already trying to start denying this this city, but it's not going to be denied. He only has a single archer, and also there's an archer from Pumpy there. So pretty awkward stuff so far. Neither of the other WL players have city yet. Everybody's quite slow. And the Green Inca player is actually going to sit there in the center. Going to try and take over this this rare area.
Yes.
Yeah, so it looks like they're going to try and control horses and spice, which I think is a good choice. It's like a little scary, but looks like Dane is going to sieve there. Also, apologies, I do not have a monitor, so I need to look at the chat. Oh, hey, Jonathan. I think that's Jonathan anyways. How's it going? Slight mishap here. With the merchants here from D, that's Dane. Little bit awkward, but he's going to notice, or his ally, TNO, is going to notice it very quickly. Jatten is getting raided here pretty heavily. 2 slingers coming out from Pumpy, the Japanese player, who's already at 100 eco, and Jatten's actually really struggling. He deleted his wood camp because he got raided, I believe. No? He just deleted it? What the heck? I guess he deleted it because he wanted to put it on the other side. But this is really awkward for Jatten so far. He's lost a citizen, and at least he hasn't been forced to make these archers, or these extra slingers that that Pumpy has. Pumpy's made 2 slingers, but he's definitely behind. I mean, if you could look at Jatten's score, he's definitely the lowest. Scouting-wise, both teams have done a pretty meh job. I'd say WL have done a better job, but I mean, TUF have no idea of their opponents. They've literally not scouted at all. Like, basically, their opponents on the map, which is really awkward, right? They would really like to know about this forces that's quite vulnerable in the center of the map, and they would also like to know about Spice there, which they, you know, currently don't. Just a little bit awkward scouting thus far. TUF also don't know about this citrus rare, but other than that, I think they see everything. For WL, they haven't scouted wine or wool in the back, or tobacco. So they're missing a bunch of their rares, which is pretty unfortunate for them. They have seen Pappy, which is good, but you know, it's quite awkward. But pretty slow start to this game aside from some action on the left side. Jatten is still kind of struggling. He's now finally up to 100-100, yes. But if you just compare, I mean, the Japanese player is a good amount ahead of him. 53 wealth income, 110 of each versus just 120 Caravan. Well, about to finish. That's going to buff his wealth income up to 31. Some light raids coming out from Mouse. He's got a hoplite on the city here, and the barracks is pretty late from D. That's Dan, I think. Mouse is actually going to build a scout. Not something we see super commonly, but because of their lack of scouting, I imagine that's why he's doing that. This hoplite's pretty annoying, but there are archers here, and it looks like Mouse got away with killing 1 merchant. No, maybe not. Actually, I'm not sure. The graphics are a little funky. Looks like WL is going to finally scout that wool and the wine there. That's going to be good for them. This caravan's almost going to die, but it's going to be saved with some nice micro from Dane. Still skirmishing on this side, a very aggressive tower from Pumpy, who's going to start aging. And Jatten's going to go for his own defensive tower. It's pretty awkward for Jatten here. He's gotten behind early, and I'm not really sure how he tries to rectify this. And I do like his choice to build backwards. I think he's going to need it, because otherwise he might be in for a rough one. The rares aren't in his favor, and he's kind of alone against 2 players. So it's quite awkward. Looks like everybody's going to be aging up very soon. Let's see. Did Mouse lose his hoplite? He might have. No, his hoplite's still alive. That's his scout. Where does hoplite go? Oh, it's in the city. Okay, alright. So this is something we see high-level players do a lot. They'll actually station units at their more undefendable rares. So here we've got Altair stationing some units at diamonds. And still, like, this is Pumpy just taking advantage of Jatten's weakness here. Jatten is unfortunately a little bit behind, so he's going to bleed units continuously. He's going to lose a merchant here. Jatten just now ages. He's going to go for a stable immediately. Really needs a senator to try and defend against this army raid. And also light horses, obviously. This is a little scary from Pumpy. I threw away an archer for no reason. I think he just gets run down by a light horse here. I'm not really sure what he's doing with these units. I guess he's going to try to go for a raid, but it's like, I don't think this is actually good for you. Okay, I guess he does have a light horse. But Jatten's going to have a horse. Oh, I guess 2 light horses. Okay, it was a bait overall. It's Pumpy just dragging Jatten out of place and trying to pick away at his units. Jatten's going to be forced to make some light horses, just continually setting him behind. Pumpy doesn't have a Senate yet, I imagine, but is pumping scholars as we speak. And so, at the end of the day, Jatten's going to lose a slinger, and Pumpy's going to lose an archer, which is... I mean, overall, it's actually not great for Pumpy. He's going to lose a slinger, actually. Pretty awkward trade there for Pumpy. We're going to see Mouse go on an army raid here. Going to catch a merchant for free. Pretty fortunate of him. So far, no aggression from WL. Their starts have been a little slow, and they're just kind of getting going at this point. 103 wealth income for the green Inca player, and 130 for the blue Inca player. Mill2 already here for Altair, and the purple Japanese player is also going for Mill2. Jatten looks pretty dead to me. I think he's in a lot of trouble. He's going to go for Senator. Yeah, it's like pretty awkward. This army raid for Mouse looks like it's going to work out. Mouse is going to go for Despot here. 2 barracks and a stable. This is actually really, really nice from Mouse. I think these are like the perfect rares for him. Diamonds is insane with Despot, especially French. Furs, right? Salt is a great rare. Obsidian makes your archers do more damage. He is going to bleed some units randomly here. Slightly awkward for Dane. He queued up an elephant rather than a light horse. But I think Jatten's dead here. He is trying to be active with his units, which is kind of what you want to do, but he's going to be really behind. Senate from the Japanese player, and Despot from the blue Inca player. Some slight miss micro from Mouse, but he's going to send in that light horse and get a nice raid on the single wine merchant. Really surprised that Dane hasn't used these elephants aggressively, considering he saw that Mouse went Despot. One of the biggest problems of raiding with elephants is obviously you get one of the biggest problems of raiding with elephants is your elephant may get bribed, but because there's because it's Despot, you know, it's not unlikely to get bribed. And in fact, we really haven't seen any raids from WL. They haven't done a good job scouting after the initial. If you look at the map vision, they really don't see any of their opponents. They really need to really need to scout here. Does look like the green Inca player, has rotated over to the left, and they're kind of just leaving Dane by himself, which, you know, it's a little scary considering, especially we're against a French Despot here. But I mean, Jatten also needs the help. He needs to not die against the Incan Despot. So pretty large French Despot army already. This is kind of what you would like to see. And also about the army composition, Mouse prioritizing the army the foot unit upgrade over making extra units. I think that's a good choice, especially considering he's going to need a little bit more time to get going. And in order to fight these elephants, he needs a lot of upgraded heavy infantry to fight the Indian elephants. That's kind of how you beat them, especially if you're attacking. But now the siege has begun on this left side. Altair gonna upgrade, Heavy Knight upgrade. Big skirmish here on this right side, but Pumpy's just gonna retreat to safety in the city. Tino does go Senator, so the game is if WL can last for long enough, maybe they can get an advantage because their opponents do have gone Despot, but you know, still raids from TUF, but no raids from WL. Jatten's going to take a bit of a spotty trade here. He's going to lose his very forward tower. He really needs TNO to go help him because TNO has a stronger army than Pumpy, but TNO can't really force a fight because Pumpy just runs back to his city. Pretty awkward. If they fought it as a 2v2, I think they would have a better chance of winning here, but instead... still raids from Mouse being really annoying. Mouse is pulling militia here on this left side. No attrition yet for Dane. He has a tower and a lookout. He's going to pull his militia as well. This looks pretty awkward. I think he's dead. I mean, the French Despot army, this is kind of what happens. Mouse's Despot is a little bit opposition. There's a tower and a lookout, but I think Mouse is going to get the city. I'm not entirely sure yet. Distracting micro from this light horse, but it's not going to do much. He's going to get it picked off. And yeah, this looks pretty awkward. Mouse thinks he can just try and force the city like that, and he's going to get it. He's going to get 200 wealth plunder, which is really awkward. And now there's no healing. There's healing for Mouse, but no healing for Dane. And this game looks really lost for WL. We'll take a quick look over the left side. A big skirmish here. Lots of fighting. I think seems like Altair lost all his cavalry, which was good, but Mouse is gonna say GG. Yeah, I mean, oh, he's gonna say GG easy. Okay, not super sportsmanlike of him, but I mean, I kind of question the choice to leave the Indians player by himself against a French Despot. I mean, obviously you can spare a couple cavalry to make sure Jan stays alive, but I think it's a little bit spotty because it's really hard to win in a 1v1 against any French player. And now Mouse is just going to run over the rest of WL. Yeah, so I think this one was pretty awkward. For whatever reason, WL were just a little slower, and also WL were a little slower, and also they seem to not have quite a cohesive game plan, right? Like, they're more reactionary. The Incan player putting pressure here, going Despot, and WL saying, okay, well, we have to have TNO help here, but they're just kind of reacting to their opponent's game plan. At this point, the French Despot army has spiraled way too far out of control. I mean, Dane is wisely keeping his units alive, but it's a little too late now. They're going to try and double Mouse here, and Mouse is wisely going to back off. No need to force a fight. He's going to just kite backwards, just take as many victories as he can. But he is going to bleed units. Good rotation from TNO, but it should have been a bit earlier. Especially with all these cavalry, he can easily rotate over. John has a decent-sized army at this point. It's not amazing by any means, but at least he can sustain the trades because he is senator, so that's why he's kind of like forcing it here. Although it's a little scary now because he doesn't have forced march and his opponent has a bunch of archers, so he's going to lose all of his phalanx actually. And just looking at this is some really nice micro from Altair, just dragging the cavalry and the heavy infantry out of position while the archers are just free reigning, and so Jatin's going to get the much worse end of the trade there. This third city from the Japanese player is going to claim horses, and it's going to be Hanging Gardens for the Incan player, and Pyramids for this Incan player. Pretty awkward overall. Mouse still has his entire army. Indian's player is pretty much dead. Yeah, I don't really know how WL get out of this one at this point in the game. I think Dan just really need to prioritize attrition a little bit earlier, and also ask for some help earlier, because at this point, this game's gotten really awkward. Obviously, TNO still has a pretty large army, and he's very close to aging, but Jatin still needs a good while to go. He's only at 60 knowledge income. His eco is pretty bad. He needs to pump out citizens if he can, but he really can't afford anything at this point. And if you can just compare their the opposing tier 1 player, the economy is night and day, right? Night and day. 99 knowledge, or 100 wealth income, 160 both food and timber, 120 metal. I mean, TUF are just crushing this game on on both sides. And the only one who is really close, yeah, I mean, even the Inca player has a better eco than Jan has at this point. Like, the only one who is remotely close is the green Incan player. That's TNO, but even him, I mean, eventually, if he doesn't make something happen, this game's going to be over very soon, and this city's not going to get taken. There's a fort and a large city. I mean, it's looking pretty hopeless for WL. Really feel like they haven't been aggressive at all, and you know, it's definitely hurt them this game. Jan gonna go for a mad rush here on this left side. I don't know. I don't think this is gonna work out. He's not really paying attention. He's gonna lose like his whole army here probably. From the Japanese players here, upgraded units. Yeah, this looks pretty over. Tino's here. But at this point, the Incan player has a larger army, so and it's going to be upgraded very soon because he just aged. This looks pretty awkward. Mouse recognizing that he doesn't really need to like straight up kill his opponent. He can just like boom up a little bit, make sure he gets to that medieval age secure, because the French in medieval age are one of the strongest nations in the game. I mean, they're pretty strong at any point, but if you just look at the scores, I mean. Poor Dane is really struggling. He's only now getting 0-2. Jan's still nowhere close to aging. He actually went for Commerce too. I don't think that's a good choice here. I mean, I guess he has to go for some weird plays, but it's not going to work out. Does look like Silver did get raided by a Cataphract from TNO, and he should have been doing this much earlier. And I think, like, obviously Jan fell behind, but I think it's really important that they continue these raids early on, because that's kind of what keeps them in the game if it's not going super well. We're gonna see an ambush from Mouse on TNO's city. Mouse recognizing that Dane can't do anything to stop him, so nothing's gonna stop him from just taking the city for free. And now the ambush is unveiled, and TNO's gonna lose the city very quickly. Bit of a mistake from him to not have it be large. He has 1, 2, 3. Even if this lookout goes up. Oh, he has 4. Okay. If the lookout goes up, it could be large. Oh, it is going to be large. Okay, so he's going to save a city momentarily, and Mouse is going to have to back out. He's probably going to lose a couple of units for this, but it's still, you know, it's still just distracting TNO from this left side, which he needs to be here. Right? He needs to be here because Jatten is literally dead. He's actually dead. Yeah, this game seemed like a one-sided affair for TUF the entire game, and that's going to be GG. GG's called. TUF just kind of stomps WL completely this game. Really felt like one-sided. Not really sure what WL could have done to try and stop their opponents from getting the advantage there. It just like the game really fell apart on this left side because Jatten fell behind against Pumpy, and you know, the game snowballs from there, right? Yeah, so pretty tough. I do think I applaud Altair for choosing to go Despot in this spot. Just recognizing that if he gives the opposing Inca player time to boom, then the French player might fall off. So by putting pressure on both sides, they force TNO to react to both sides, and you can't be everywhere at once. So, yeah. All right, that's gonna be the game here. Game number 1 going to TUF in a very one-sided game. Just felt like they were in the lead the whole time. But yeah, I'm gonna update the score really quickly. Here we are. All right, so the score is now 1-0 in favor of TUF. Also, just a reminder, it's a bit hard for me to read the chat because I do not have a second monitor right now. But we're just going to jump straight into game number 2 after I quickly take a look at the chat. All right. Hey, how's it going, Raw and Nutrition and Flames? How's it going? Hope everybody's doing well. Yeah. Yeah. This is I feel like this game is pretty pretty one-sided because of the rares, as well as the lack of I felt like an overall lack of aggression from WL. So pretty rough. Mentalist, we've been over this. It's your behavior that's a bit, it's a bit unacceptable. So I ask that if you can make it through one stream without spamming the chat with things that are not relevant, maybe I'll think about it. But really, it's just a sign of immaturity at this point. So yeah. Hope everybody's enjoying the stream so far. Again, this is ASC The Pair. We're casting TUF versus WL. Game number 1 was a very sided match. TUF took it pretty handily. They had the better rares, and their team cohesion just seemed to be a little bit better overall. Let's jump into game number 2 now. So it's WL's choice of maps. So they're going to choose Outback in game number 2. So Outback is one of the more exciting maps. I know Jatten really likes this map. So let's take a look at the players and their nations. So we can start with TUF. So for TUF, they've got their Tier 2 player is Pumpy with Americans. Tier 3 is Altair with Greeks. And Tier 4 is Mouse with Maya. And they're up against Jatten with Tier 2 is Bantu. Tier 3 is TNO with Greeks. And Tier 4 is Fatabi, it looks like, with Chinese. So pretty interesting picks. So we see Greeks mirrored in both nations. Americans versus Bantu. So Americans are the kind of... the kind of nation that kind of needs some space to get going, whereas Bantu, they're on this map especially, they're going to be the ones that are aggressing usually. although they can get for a good boom going. And then, of course, we've got Maya versus Chinese. Definitely an interesting choice for WL to pick Chinese here. Not entirely sure why they've chosen to do that. I think Chinese are oftentimes more suited to more defensive maps. And this map is oftentimes a fast-paced one because everybody's so close together, because there's not that much land mass. Definitely a little bit surprised, but maybe Fatabi has some tricks up his sleeve. I'm assuming this is Fatabi anyways. And then obviously Maya are just a generically good fast nation. I really like Greeks on this map, just because their cavalry are quite good, and they the knowledge gathering is very good for a quick age 3, and as well along with the fish that really fuels that knowledge. So I think I give the slight edge to. I think I give the slight edge to WL. In terms of nation picks, I do think I really like Bantu on this map, and I think Americans, it can be a little bit too fast-paced sometimes, depending on nation spawns and the like. But I think especially if Jatton plays this well, he can be the one making space for his team. Whereas last game, he really couldn't do that because he was placed directly across from the other tier 1 player. Anyways, so for nation spawns, we can start with TUF. On the left side, we have the purple Greeks player, Altair. In the back corner, we have the blue Americans player, Pumpy. And then on the wing here, kind of in the center, we have the white Mayan player, Mouse. Across from him, we have the other tier 4 player, the green Chinese player, Fatabi. In the back here, we have the red Bantu player, Jatton. And above over there, we have the yellow Greeks player, Tino. So the more I think about it, the more I think that Chinese, part of it is it's the border push, right? Having these large cities in age 1 and 2, and having map control early on, that is really important. So perhaps WL values that, because it is a pretty good power. Although, admittedly, if you're going to do that, you might as well pick Russians, you know what I mean? But that is their choice. It does look like the Mayan player is significantly faster, already has 4 farms and is going to put down a library, whereas Fatabi here has yet to put down the 5th farm. So it's a definitely interesting spot. I think this could be a game where everybody just kind of converges on the center. There is this big mountain in the middle here, but this is a lot of open space to play with. I imagine this is where we're going to see a lot of the fronts. Also on this side, obviously, between the Chinese and Mayan player. I imagine we're going to see a lot of fighting here, and also probably a lot of fighting in the water. Again, these teams are among the better teams, some of the top teams in the tournament. So I'll expect to see some really nice raids in the water as well as on land early on from both teams. So it looks like the Mayan player is the fastest so far. Probably going to go for a commerce very soon. Could be a mill. Looks like Mouse is content to go mill, surprisingly. As the Mayan player, I actually think obviously you can go mill if you think you're significantly faster than your opponent, which he is. But I think you can actually go just commerce here, because you're not gonna lose too much if your opponent goes mill here. Because you are the Mayan player, you have the automatic shooting towers, and you can just go mill after you finish your commerce. You can get your fishes early, but it looks like Mouse is choosing to go mill. Let's see if that choice pays off. We can take a quick look at the ruins bonuses here. Looks like Pumpy and Mouse are actually the ones struggling the most. Although Mouse is doing very well for himself in terms of speed. Pumpy is definitely he's struggling the most in terms of ruins. Only a single ruin thus far. Admittedly, it is Outback, so not a ton of ruins to be said. But Mouse is going to go for that mill. He's going to throw down a barracks immediately. Let's see what Fatabi's up to. Fatabi's going to click up on that commerce. That could be his death knell. Admittedly, the wood camp is pretty far in the back. It also is +8, which is nice for Fatabi, but it's a little bit scary, definitely, especially if he sends out some more citizens. Pretty awkward stuff so far. Researches-wise, it looks like the TUF team is once again just slightly ahead. Americans player has commerce already, whereas, I guess Jatton doesn't have commerce quite yet. Jen hasn't thrown down a dock yet. He's actually going to go for a market first, which is good for me as a caster because I get to see what the rares are. So for WL, we've got Obsidian, Citrus, Wool, Peacocks, Cotton, Diamond, Wine, Bison, Dye, Horses, Furs, and possibly Sugar. For TUF, we've got Marble, Silver, Silk, Spice, Relics, Salt, and Happy. And I went through that relatively quickly because we do see the first raid here from Mouse. Not sure how much it's going to get done, but definitely going to force a mill out of Fatabi. Fatabi already having enough, will have enough food for it. Might get his barracks denied though if he isn't careful. He needs to be really careful about where he places that barracks. And Mouse has said, okay, I'm just going to make those 2 light infantry, and that's the end of it. Fatabi's actually seen these light infantry and choosing to go Civic in spite of all of it. Pretty interesting choice. I'm not entirely sure if that's the right one. I think... I see. It's because Jatten wants to go Mill, which makes sense. Jatten wanting to raid, definitely. That makes sense that he would be the one going Mill. Scouting-wise, WL have done a decent job so far. They're missing a bit in the back here and around the bottom side. And again, it's tough. Doing some pretty minimal scouting on their opponents. Really, it feels like their scouting has been pretty mopey so far, so a little bit surprised from them. Also really surprised, Fatabi doesn't have a dock yet. He has had commerce for quite a while, but he's floating 200 wood right now. This seems like definitely an oversight of not putting down a dock. I think I'm not really sure what he's doing with this wood. Oh, okay, he did put down a dock. Never mind, he's just not paying attention. Fatabi! Fatabi, please! We're going to see Calm Civ from the Purple Greeks player and Calm Civ from the Yellow Greeks player as well. Looks like Yellow Greeks player is definitely behind if you just compare the ecos. Fishing ships have not been deployed yet for TNO. Has 3 fishing ships though. Jen's doing decently well for himself. He's using diamonds. He's going to send out some raiding units. Let's see where Mouse's raiding units are. He has a single slinger there. Oops. I didn't mean to do that. And he has the other one garrisoned in the back to defend himself. Let's see, Americans player, what are they up to? They went Calm Mill. Not sure what the mill's for. Did go 2 woodcutter camps, interestingly enough. So it's possible we won't see a rush for that wonder, although admittedly there aren't a ton of rares that that Pumpy can use here. Jatten starting the raids here. These fast Bantu infantry are definitely helping him a lot here. I don't think he's going to be able to pick off that light infantry, but he's going to be able to definitely pick away at Mouse's units, force Mouse to continuously micro, which is definitely annoying. Another raid, a bowman here in the back. This is a really nice raid from Jatten. Just being really annoying. I mean, like you force Pumpy to make units in the back or send units to the back. Pumpy's going to make 3 archers and already hurting his timber income. This is the kind of thing we want to see from the Bantu player. Those light infantry from Mouse, that single light infantry is really annoying. Just doing a lot of scouting and also harassing here. Definitely really annoying. Jatten has 3 light infantry. Let's see him work on his eco a little bit more. He's actually kind of struggling for food. But for the first time in the series, WL do have the score lead. If but for a moment. Jatten scouted the other wood camp from Pumpy, so this could be a spot that's easily raidable. Looks like Pumpy's going to age up and go for a wonder, it seems. Not too surprised there. No water raids as of yet, it seems. Everybody's content to just let each other use the water. Really annoying raid here from this light infantry. It's just 2 guys left, and they only have 29 HP, but really, really annoying. Decent micro from Jatten so far. I don't think he's lost a unit, and Pumpy's really had to lose a lot of timber income and macro time, I mean. But Jatten's actually gonna get trapped here by Mouse. Doesn't have Science 1, so can't escape into the water. He's actually gonna lose some units, so this is actually really bad for Jatten. He's gonna throw away some units. Not sure what Fatabi's up to. Fatabi is... He's sending out some bark to go exploring. Jen is keeping them busy, but he's actually going to lose all of his units, which is not ideal. You really want to keep these early units alive so you can continue army raiding with them later. But that's a big loss, and Pumpy is going to finally age up. He's going to throw down that Colossus, and it seems like TUF have re-established the lead for themselves once again. That gems from TUF, it's really helping them out this game. Just the border push here, right? They're able to secure this access to sugar, and actually the Greeks player is going to get Civic 2 here. I'm going to go for another city. Jan desperately trying to use these units. I think he recognizes that he's probably unlikely to get them out safely. What's Fatabi up to? Fatabi's gone 1-1-1-1. Greeks player also has gone 1-1-1-1. Seems like they're a little bit behind at this point. Jaten's still a little far away from aging. Fatabi, these raids can be quite good. He is using citrus, which is nice. Bit inefficient resource gathering. I was wondering why his age time was a little slow there. Decent tower from TNO. Gonna protect this wood camp. He's gone 2 wood camps as well. So a little surprised that he didn't go for this wood camp in the back. This wood camp seems very exposed. If you look at how much knowledge he has, he's really raking in the knowledge. Other Greeks player as well also has a ton of knowledge. Still no age from Altair here. That light infantry is finally going to get picked off, and these barks are going to be annoying. Let's see if TUF are going to respond. Yeah, they are. They're going to queue up 2 triremes immediately. And that's already good enough. That trade is worth it. Like, forcing your opponents to make 2 triremes that they won't be able to get much done with unless they make more boats. Like, that's pretty good. Although we could see more water and water. Oh, Fatabi is sneaking this Pappy because their opponents have not scouted it. Well, not sneaking. It is in their territory, but their opponents haven't seen it yet. And this is the problem with not scouting. TUF haven't seen their opponents' rares at all. They don't know if they have aggressive rares or defensive rares or whatnot. So it's, like, pretty rough. Senator, obviously, from the Colossus Americans player, already at 138 timber income. That's pretty good. Mouse is definitely the one who's struggling the most on his team, just because, you know, he invested early in that mill, and, you know, he's just a little bit behind, but that's all right. It looks like Fatabi's content to invest heavily in the water. Gonna go for Dromons here. I think they're trying to push their water advantage with citrus, and I think that's a good idea, you know. Just try and raid your opponent from there, and then maybe you can cause enough chaos that your allies will have an advantage on land. Would love to see the Greeks player raid on land as well, and Bantu player as well. I mean, Jan didn't get a ton done, and he... Let's see. Oh, he actually did manage to save those 2 light infantry from earlier. It's pretty awkward to attack into Mouse here, because he has a tower, he's the mine player. All of his, like, this is a really tough position to attack into. Mouse is going to go for Civic 1. Back for Civic 1 now.
I need white. Oh yeah, knowledge.
Finally now, Mouse is going to scout these merchants from WL. Pretty greedy of WL to use this Pappy without a single tower up. Nobody's using sugar. I think it's possible that TNO raided it. I'm not entirely sure. Really confused what TNO's up to, so he's going to go for Mill 2 now. He's floating a ton of knowledge. Fatabi raiding here with these light ships. It's really, really nice. Nice work from him. He's causing a lot of chaos in the water. Not sure where the boats are. Oh, the boats are way out of position. Pumpy and Mouse just very slow on their feet. They're not even using whales here. There is a heavy ship here, but Fatabi's going to be able to pick away at these fishermen. This fisherman's not even gathering, actually. Sleeping on his feet. And look, I mean, just look at how many heavy ships have been forced out of their opponents. Mouse is going to go for a city on the bottom side to secure Pappy, and that's really bad for WL. I mean, they're ahead in score, but that Pappy is one of their best rares in this game. Altair going to go for Senator. He actually has 2-2-2-2 compared to the 2-2-2-1 of TNO. TNO's economy is a little bit better, which is why his score is doing a little bit better. Pretty quiet game so far, which is going to favor TUF, definitely. They're the ones with the Colossus. We could take a quick look at the mountain count. So for Pumpy, he's got a +8. For Altair, he's got plenty of mountains, more than enough mountains. There's a +5 here also if Pumpy wants it, which he probably will. There's a +5, and it's actually pretty slim pickings for Mouse. They might be short like one mountain, which is kind of awkward. They really need access to this mountain. On the other side, for Jatten, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 mountains. It looks like Fatabi is using this one, but he can probably spare one of Jatten's mountains. And then only a single mountain for what do you call it, for TNO. Again, you know, it seems like both teams will be a little bit starved for mountains. For whatever reason, this map just doesn't have that many mountains in the first place. But if they share enough, that could be good. Let's see, did Fatabi lose his light ships? Oh wait, that's not Fatabi. He kept one alive, okay. Nice raid here in the back from TNO. Heavy cavalry is pretty annoying to deal with from your opponents. Would love to see a wonder or something from WL. They're kind of just letting this early Colossus go completely unpunished. Game is pretty quiet. Both teams just kind of letting each other boom up. Very surprised Jatten hasn't gone for a wonder or something. He has a pretty good eco. Let's take a quick look at the knowledge incomes because the game is relatively quiet. We've got Jatten, the Bantu player, with 120, 130 for the Chinese player, 120 for the yellow Greeks player, 105 for the purple Greeks player, 120 for Pumpy, the Americans Colossus player, and 95 for Mouse. Mouse does have a siege. And they're starting to siege here. They have a small-ish army. Jatten raiding Pappy there. Really nice work from him. Just forcing your opponent to constantly pack and repack. Just taking advantage. Like, this is a free raid, right? Like, as long as you're microing and stuff. Because your senders heal your units. So that's nice from him. But he does need to deal with this issue here. Let's see. How much army does Fatabi have? Fatabi has nothing. Okay. Bit of a problem. This city might go down here. Especially considering they have, like, literal 0 army. Okay, Fatabi throwing down his first barracks and stable of the game. Floating a lot of resources. I'm not really sure what he's up to. Can age, hasn't clicked up yet. Can also throw down like a Hang Gardens or, I don't know, anything. He can go for Science 3 if he wants. Very, very confused. We're going to see Mouse pull a bunch of militia again. No attrition from Jatten, it seems. Does he have attrition? Yeah, no attrition, no militia. Yeah, he's going to lose the city for sure. This is like really awkward. Fatabi has nothing. Yeah, they're just throwing away the city, unfortunately. Jen's gonna lose the city very easily here. No way to defend it. Because Fatabi just has nothing. Pumpy and Altair are aging. What is Fatabi up to? What's happening here, my dude? Raids in the back, nice work, but... Oh, Fatabi's going ham on the water, it looks like. But still, I mean, he's really fallen asleep at the wheel, it seems. He has so many resources floating. TNO gonna rotate down now with his bit of land army. I think he recognizes that there's not much aggression coming out from Altair, so he's free to make this rotation. And in fact, Altair's eco is actually doing really poorly. It seems like these raids from Fatabi have really been annoying. You just look, he has 200 population, but, you know...
Yes.
Yeah, it's just really awkward now, because this is now going to be a mine city, and it's getting repaired very quickly. Obviously, Mouse doesn't have the greatest of ecos. He doesn't have civic or science, but he has a ton of knowledge, so that could be good for him. What is Fatabi doing? This is not what I expected. Obviously, I understand he might be a bit rusty, but this is completely unacceptable. What's happening here? Okay, he's infinite queuing stuff now. Okay, now he's What's happening here, Fatabi? Okay, he's spending his resources. Okay. I mean, I think the WL still have an advantage here. Did Jatten lose his scholars? Let's see. He lost some of them. Where's the other one? Jatten says, I ambush. I mean, these crossbows are now really hard to fight because, again, Fatabi has nothing. He needs to get a good ambush going, but they are going to be able to push them back here. Decent micro from Pumpy, setting his cataphracts to the top. Over here, no sieges yet from Altair, so he can't really punish his opponents playing defensive. Another Forbidden City going down for Altair. And Jatten is going to... No, he's not going to take his city back, just kidding. For some reason I thought that was him taking his city back. So it's going to be a triple on this side, but they're still losing because Fatabi has a zillion resources unspent. Really? Hello? Hello? Please make units. Yeah, I mean, this trade's really not benefiting them. TNO's just bleeding units. It's a little... I mean, very confused. Yeah, looks like WL's gonna lose 2v3. Mouse has repulled all his militia. And Fatabi's fallen asleep at the wheel. Man, you have so many resources. Please spend them. I mean, he's spending them now, but WL have lost the lead because I don't know. I think just like I don't really know what's happening here. We can take a look at the knowledge incomes once again. TNO is going to go back for Hanging Gardens. I think he should have done that much earlier. Take a quick look at the knowledge incomes and the libraries. So for TNO, he's got 2222 with 135. And then the Greeks player is 211 and is ready to age, so that's pretty rough. So Eco's doing pretty poorly, I think, because he pulled a bunch of units there. And maybe he's getting raided? No, his Eco's pretty bad. Mine player has 120 wealth income, has 2112. Fatabi has 3213 and has 156. Colossus Americans player has 160 and 2223, whereas Jatten has 2221 and 140. Yeah, so this game got really awkward for WL really fast because they just threw away the city. Like there's like really no reason to throw it away, and then they just like took a terrible fight here for no reason. It's just like really confusing stuff so far. Altair trying to be active with his units, but TNO wisely gonna drive that away. Already has a very forward lookout. Nice work from him. Nice raids in the back from Pumpy, 3 Caracs there. Really annoying to deal with in the medieval age. Jen doesn't have upgraded fire rafts, which kind of make things a lot more difficult. Looks like TNO's paying attention. Yeah, he's going for an army raid. This is a really nice army raid. It is going to be quite awkward because Altair is going to catch him on the way back.
You okay over there?
Quick pause. Altair is going to catch him on the way back, but 4 pikes might be able to fight this. I'm not entirely sure. Fatabi's getting sieged away. He still really doesn't have that much. He does have 3223, so he's going to be able to age up very soon. TNO is going to take this fight. I'm not actually sure who wins. I mean, with all these pikes, maybe he'll win. But I think all these the whole army arriving from Pumpy means TNO is going to lose this fight pretty poorly. I'm surprised that Altair is just running. Yeah, he's going to back off and just eat away at TNO's army. Pretty ill-advised trade from TNO. He should have gotten out when he could have, but instead, yeah. Somehow WL have taken the lead once again in score. 2 ships passing in the night here, a light ship and a heavy ship. Jatten's going to go for pyramids, getting science 2 now. He's pretty behind in terms of knowledge, but admittedly Mouse is also pretty behind. But the purple Greeks player is aging. 3 sieges, bunch of slingers queued up. Not really sure how they're going to deal with this. I mean, this is a Greeks player who's going to age very soon, very quickly. And also, of course, we'll have Monarchy to go with all these amazing French cavalry very soon. I'm not really sure how plans to deal with this, or how TNO plans to deal with this. He's still a little ways off aging. Pumpy is continually pressing. He's floating a lot of resources, actually. A little bit surprised that he didn't grab pyramids earlier, but Jatten's going to take it instead. Nice raid from Jatten, going to clear away all these Pappy merchants. Really, really nice work from him. Still, these water raids from Fatabi are kind of keeping them in the game right now. Obviously, Pumpy's raiding them on the backside, and WL aren't doing a very good job of respecting that, but you know, those counter raids are really, really important. They're kind of what keep you in the game, keep your opponents focus in the backside, protecting their own cities. TNO is going to start aging, but Altair is a little bit too far ahead at this point. He doesn't have enough money for a monarchy quite yet. He still needs 200 wealth, roughly. But this is a pretty scary army, even though it's relatively small size. I mean, it's high tech. It's pretty strong. These are, I mean, oh, actually, these are not upgraded yet. It looks like he's saving knowledge for monarchy, it seems. Yep, monarchy. Here it looks like Fatabi and Jatten took a good trade against, or took a good fight against Pumpy. Pumpy's gonna have to back off, but Fatabi's gonna throw away some units because why not? Mouse is doing whatever this is. Does this even work? I don't know if this works. Yeah, I mean, this is just really awkward because Fatabi just gave Mouse his extra mountain. Like, this is like, he needs to take back the city to deny the mountain because Fatabi's actually really starved on mountains. I know it's because Jatten's hogging them all. He has 15, Fatabi has 7, so... Fatabi wisely using that smelter, nice work from him, and also has a bunch of metal rares, so he's not hurting too badly. But they're going to try and fight this. Oh, okay, Fatabi's going to run in for no reason. Jatten has, like, where is his army? Very small. Still sieging here for Altair. He's gotten that monarchy now. No monarchy from TNO quite yet, and nice job from Altair. These heavy cavalry are very fast, so they can just split off and raid your opponent, which is really, really strong. They can just run back to the army. There's nothing that can really catch them in the game, so this is a really, really nice raid from him. Water battles in the back, TNO having to deal with them. No more raids from WL. Fatabi's going to be aging, but so is Pumpy. I mean, this is really awkward because Americans play at age 4, they're extremely strong. Admittedly, Americans, you know, if you look at how many crossbows they have, this isn't super great army, but Americans with monarchy for free, you know, that's really nice. On the top side, looks like Altair's going to go for a charge, recognizing that he has the advantage here. Don't think he can take it immediately, and in fact, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what this is supposed to do. He's just going to lose some health on his units. TNO should be pushing a little bit more with these light infantry, just getting pot shots off for free. That's kind of how you win this fight. And actually, TNO has the army advantage. He has pikemen, whereas his opponent doesn't. So if Altair's heavy cavalry ever leave his army, then all these arquebusiers just die to TNO's heavy cavalry. TNO is going to have monarchy very soon. Still fighting here on this top side. Not entirely sure who's going to win. Monarch is a bit back from TNO. He's not microing. Oh, TNO, he needs to get his Monarch there right now. Because otherwise he's just throwing in these cavalry to die. He needs to get some cavalry to the backside. This is kind of seeing the cavalry in reserve thing. It looks like Altair is going to win this fight, maybe. Actually... No, TNO actually has a zillion cavalry. Why is his eco so terrible? Oh, he's getting raided in the backside. Oh, a brutal raid. Dual raid from Altair and Pumpy. That's why his eco's so bad. He's just getting raided from both of them in the back. And now the game's really hard. I'm not really sure how WL got out of this. Jan has a pretty sizable fleet here, 3 units. He's also going for upgrade. He's also going for the age now, and Mouse is also aging. But this is a very scary American's army. I mean, it's only going to get scarier given that, you know, he's the Colossus player with an insane eco. It's going to be up to TNO to get something done here. Maybe he can take a good fight, because he does seem like he has a stronger army. He doesn't have any sieges quite yet, but he does have a stronger army, it seems. And he's going to take a decent trade here. Although, if these knights get to the back line, it's really awkward. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. No, the spies are going to drive them away. Nice work from TNO. This is one of the things, having spies is kind of like having heavy infantry. So, it's really nice. Jatten is upgrading his units, so is Mouse. Eco-wise, Jatten is doing probably similar to Mouse. Jatten has a lot more knowledge. He's actually at 29 scholars right now, which is why he doesn't have a ton of army. But he is getting all the upgrades. He only has these light infantry right now. Yeah, he's gonna go for Arquebusier upgrade. Looks like Fatabi didn't have time to get monarchy before he raised the Senate, unfortunately for him. So it looks like this side is pretty doomed. It's a little, I'm not entirely sure. On this side, Altair still refuses to make heavy infantry, and maybe TNO can punish him for that. But actually, it looks like TNO took a really bad fight. Where did all his cavalry go? Oh, they're just getting pulled off to the side. Is Altair just raiding him nonstop? TNO really needs to counter-raid him if possible. I mean, there's a lot of vulnerable stuff in the backside here, but it's really hard to spare the units at this point in the game. Altair's going to go for a charge here, and they're also going to go for a charge here. Armor for the Americans player. It's really hard to pay attention to both fights, so we're just going to flick between them back and forth. Big brawl here between the two players. I think the Americans player has got it. I mean, this castle's helping a lot, but it's really, really tough to fight against a monarch here. And then on this side, I think Altair's got it. TNO just has no army. His cavalry are kind of just everywhere here. And it is going to be Pumpy taking this city, so looks like TUF are poised to take this one as well. Jatten taking heavy losses. Fatabi also taking heavy losses. Fatabi's going to pull the militia here and going to take back his city momentarily. But this looks pretty doomed. I'm not sure how TNO threw away his lead, or his slight lead there. He has so much knowledge. But yeah, it looks like... Oh, it looks like Altair has armor, that's why. He's gun mill 4, whereas I think TNO is really struggling for, resources to use his knowledge with. Americans player spamming army, just desperately trying to break this position, going for Commerce 3 instead of Science. And Fatabi, even with all his militia, is not enough, and that's going to be GG, I think. I mean, they're just losing on both fronts. Seems like WL just really didn't get enough done with the early pressure from Jatten and the raids in the water from Fatabi. They just got out boomed on the top side, and then they just kept getting raided and really couldn't do anything about it. No counter raids aside from in the water. But yeah, this is gonna be game number 2 and the match going to TUF. TNO is gonna call it, and yeah, that's gonna be it. GG, well played. Really nice work from TUF. I think they recognize that their opponents haven't really adapted to their game plan, or / don't really have a game plan of their own, and so they just have a Americans player who's booming out of control, and they have a Greeks player who's gone completely untouched, and yeah, that's gonna be it. That's going to be it for this game, and that's going to be the series. That's going to be a 2-0 in favor of TUF there. All right. Let's take a quick look. We can take a quick look at the kill count here. It's going to be Pumpy with the most, but he did kill a bunch of Fatabi's citizens, which is why Fatabi has so many deaths. Yeah, it just seems like on the top side, Altair, whoever that is, outplayed TNO by a bit, and in the middle, it really feels like Fatabi had his opportunity. He was floating so many resources. He could have aged so much earlier, but he really didn't. And then they just threw away the city for no reason. Like Fatabi just didn't have any army because I don't know. He has like hundreds of resources floating. So I guess he's living up to his name, Rusty Fatabi, because it seems like he was a bit rusty. But that's all right. We all have our down days. Again, that is going to be the end of this this cast and the end of the series. Again, it's going to be 2-0 to TUF, and that means they advance to the top 8, whereas WL still have a chance to make it into the top 8 if they win their next final match. All right, we can take a quick look at the chat. Yeah, I mean, hope everybody... Oh, Fatabi, you played at 7 a.m. Yeah, that's pretty rough. It is how it is. Yeah, it can be tough to play that early, and yeah. Anyways, hope everybody enjoyed the stream. That's going to be about it for me today. I'm going to sign off a little bit early. A bit of a shorter stream, but we did have a rather long stream yesterday, so then that's that. And yeah, hope everybody enjoyed the stream. This is AS Eat the Pair signing off. Have a good night, good evening, good day, whatever. Yeah, hope you enjoy. Again, the other casts, we have a bunch of other games done, but they'll be sometime this coming week. I think Jatin said he'll be casting on Wednesday. I might cast tomorrow if the circumstances arise. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, hope everybody enjoyed the cast so far. This is AS Eat the Pair signing off. Bye-bye.